Hello, hello, hello. Do you know what? I was going to explain, hey, we're Bad Website Club and what we're doing, but do you know what? It is week 9 of our 10-week responsive web design bootcamp, and I think most folks who are along at the stage probably know what we're doing. And if you don't know what we're doing today specifically, we're doing my favorite session, which is we're going to continue working on the Flappy Penguin. Flappy Penguin, we're going to skip a bunch of the stuff in the middle. This is both so that today's session isn't 6 hours long because it's quite a big workshop, but it's also because it's really, really important for y'all to walk through some of these paces on your own. So we'll look at what we're skipping. We'll talk through the code that we've skipped ahead to, but I absolutely encourage all of you to go through and do each of these steps on your own, because when you get stuck, those are the little pieces of friction we need to learn. Cool. As always, we are going to be answering your questions in the chat as we go. And today we're looking at building a Flappy Penguin. We've got the building a personal portfolio exercise that we're asking you to do independently, but we'll take a look at that in more detail on Monday, if that's okay. And really helpfully, our CSS Animations review. Do you know what? In this unit, we've explored the basics of CSS animation, which is if you want to make a CSS animation, you need to set an @keyframes rule, which defines what that animation is doing at different stages in the animation. And then you also have to add the animation name and animation characteristics to link that keyframes rule to the class or the ID or the elements just generally that it applies to. We good? Good. Let's go. So the Flappy Penguin, we did a little bit of the beginning yesterday, but I'm conscious that is a huge, huge workshop. So I've skipped way ahead to a lot of the penguin being drawn for us, if that's okay. Because of this, I'm going to get rid of the instructions, and I'm going to talk through the code we've got real fast, just so and this is going to be a really good exercise that gets us feeling like we're working on a team a little. Oh, I'm going to share the right tab so you can see the screen. Lots of time we'll come onto a project and it'll be Monday, and you know what, we were off on Friday, and our colleagues have written a bunch of this code. We've got to go through and see what it is. So let's go through and see what it is. Let's get rid of the preview. And let's look at the HTML first. We've got our boilerplate, we've got our link to our CSS. Okay. And in here, we've got the body. And here's what we've got. I'm going to get rid of the CSS so we can see our preview. We've got divs, which if this was web content instead of art, I wouldn't love all of these being divs. It's not very semantic, but because this is CSS art, divs are just fine. So we've got divs for these mountains, a div for the sun, a parent div for the penguin that contains the head with divs for the right and left side of the face, a div for the chin, eyes, eyelid, left and right eyelid. Oh, divs for the blushes, for the beak, top and bottom. Okay, so here, the HTML is really just talking us through a bunch of divs, except for this div, which is div class shirt, which does have a little bit of content in it. We've got the emoji heart and then a paragraph for I heart CSS. That's quite cute. So really most of what we have here is divs making up the different pieces of our penguin. That's chill. Now, let's look at the CSS. Let's look at what we've got. And this is just real fast before we go back in. So I see from the beginning, what's going on with this? What is the syntax? What is the syntax we're seeing with penguin face, like dash dash penguin face? Yeah, somebody remind me what that's doing. We've got the body where we've got our background set to that linear gradient. This, the margin 0, the padding 0, the width is 100%, the height is 100% of the viewport, no overview. Absolutely. Mel's like, hey, 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 hey. And we've got Cynic, maybe, saying, both saying, hey, what we're doing here is we're setting the penguin face to a variable. So if we wanted to change it and have a pink penguin face later, we'd be able to do that really easily. We've got our left mountain class. Ooh, and the z-index here is 2. That means there's very likely something behind it for 3, but there should almost definitely be something in front of it for 1 for our left mountain. Oh, our back mountain, z-index of 1, all the way at the back. Our sun, okay, it's 200 pixels, round, absolute, so it's not going anywhere. The penguin has a z-index of 4, which is the highest one we've seen so far, so that's going to be up top. Remember that the z-indexes, the lower they are, the further behind you are in the stack, and the higher they are, the closer to the front. Here, everything about this penguin, all the children of it are absolute. They're not going to move. We've got CSS styling the penguin head. Oh, and setting a z-index of the penguin head to 1. Okay. The face, we're styling that. Oh, and here's where this background color for the penguin face class is calling that penguin face variable we wanted to see. Stunning. Okay, we're moving our face left and right into the right positions. Our chin also, the background, the color is the penguin face variable. Styling our eye, styling our eyelid, same color as the penguin face variable. So if we want to change it, we could change it all at once. Styling our blush, moving the left-right blush in the right place, styling the beak, styling the shirt, ooh, with the font, styling our penguin body, ooh, styling this pseudo class, the penguin body before, nice. Styling our ground, okay, so this feels okay. This is a lot, but we've looked through this code. We're like, we're ready to do this. This is okay. We're gonna target the foot element. And we're gonna give it a width of 15%. So we're still doing a little bit of styling, yeah. We're gonna set the height to 30%, that's not a problem. And here we're gonna set the background color to orange. Okay. Position the foot elements 80% from the top of its parent and give all the corners a radius of 50%. So border radius, 50%. So round-ish. You know what? I think someone else. So it's going to be top 85, I think, right? And that's 85%. Oh, gosh. I need that semicolon here. That's not quite where it goes, but that feels like we're moving in the right direction, huh? Oh, we're going to make a new variable. And this is really mirroring how we're often going to find ourselves building variables when we're actually like working with real code. And you say, hey, do you know what? I've seen myself reusing the same color for this beak and the same color with the feet. If I change these, I probably want to change them all at once. So I'm going to say, I use this twice. I'm going to go ahead and create a new variable. And now I'm going to look for the penguin beak and feet, and I'm going to change it to, I'm going to search for feet. Oh, maybe I won't. Eyes, where are you, beak? There we are, beak, hello. And here, we wanted to set that to var And then we've got our smooth braces because it's going to be a variable. And is that penguin? Oh gosh, does anybody know what picorna is? I've never heard this word before. I'm going to look it up as well because it seems weird. It's giving me the search results I'm seeing are for a picorna virus, which is a virus for birds. So here we've got the background color of the beak set to penguin picorna. And let's go and find where we had those. And actually, do you know what lazy as I am? I'm going to do that twice, huh? Where are you hiding the foot? Ha ha ha. I'm going to set the background color to that variable we've just defined as well. And that feels okay. The bootcamp is free. Free code camp, also free. But as the not quite ad break encourages me to remind you, Free Code Camp, which is separate from the bootcamp, is a registered nonprofit. If you've got the cash and if you found their materials really valuable, yeah, donating them is a really nice thing to do. So, inside the foot. Oh, so I'm going to only say the foot element that also has the class of, oh god, that class of left. Not sure if that's the right syntax, but let's see. And then we're going to position it to 25% of its parent left. Yeah, so to call a variable in CSS, it is a little bit clunky. But yeah, everything's a little bit clunky. Oh gosh, it's dot foot dot left. I don't need that space at all, do I? Let's see. Oh, and oh, my mistake, my mistake. It wants me to do this twice. So for the foot, and this actually makes quite a bit of sense. For the foot, so the element that has both the foot and the left class, I'm moving it left of its parent element 25%. I'm going to copy and paste this because I'm lazy. And for the foot element that also has the class of right, I'm going to move it to the right 25%. Okay, everything's terrible, but everything's fine. I really, really like this step because it's like, hey, we want to make the penguin's feet look more penguiny. We want to rotate. And that's going to be a function again. So we're going to start in our left. Do you remember the syntax for a function? So for a function, just like calling a variable, we use these smooth braces. And in the left, we're going to rotate this 80 degrees. Am I being silly about the... Oh, gosh, I am being silly. I need to say transform first. Y'all, thank you so much for... Y'all can't see backstage. I've got a little... It's great backstage. It's cool. We've got party balloons. There's puppets. Everybody's having a party. But it's mostly just Etta quietly because she's muted screaming, Jess, add transform in a really polite way. So we're going to transform. Okay, so when they said more penguiny, sort of more turned out. And let's go ahead and do that to our right one. So we're going to transform, and then we're going to use the rotate. And we're going to transfer that minus 80. Okay, so that actually, I think it's a little bit silly to say it looks more penguiny, but it absolutely does. Oh, this is great. Here, we've been asked to change the stacking order of the foot so that they're They appear beneath the penguin body element. I bet y'all can absolutely guess how we're going to do that. And I bet it's going to be z-index, huh? So, not seeing the penguin body element, not seeing where that is in the z-index. Maybe the penguin itself. Face. The penguin head has a z-index of 1. Okay, penguin itself has a z-index of 4. Nice. So as long as our penguin feet are a higher number, as long as they're further behind the stack, they should go behind the penguin body, which is inheriting its z-index location from the penguin parent. Oh, fun question. If we couldn't find this, how could we cheat a little bit and probably get that done? Yeah, I'm not seeing penguin body having a separate one. So I think I can say z index that was from 4. I say 5. Does that work? -1. Oh, because it's smaller, not bigger. Smaller, not bigger. I do like that it tells you. Sorry, I'm an absolute goofer. I was like, oh no, the higher is at the bottom, higher is at the top, lower is at the bottom. What a silly thing to mix up. And luckily, it can't hurt us. If we couldn't work out, if we already had something at -1, one thing we could cheat with, and we shouldn't, is if we wanted to up this all the way in the back, we could say -1,000. Just throw this as far back as you want. But the reason we try not to do that is because it's really tempting. If you say, fine, here's one exception where I'm going to say -1,000, and then you've got a ton of CSS code, and you say, okay, I've got one more exception, and you find you've already done -1,000. You find yourself in a silly position where you're like -10,000, -1,000,000. Oh, so we're going to do a little bit more drawing. So here, within our body, before the foot element, we're going to add some arms. Heck yeah. Arm. We're going to have a left one. It's okay. Come back, penguin. Yeah, everything got a little bit mixed up in here. So we've got 2 elements with the class of left and right. So they both show our code. We've got 4. What are you talking about? Within the penguin body, where we are, let me format my document. Two div elements, each with the class of arm. Div class arm left. Oh, heck. Y'all. Actually closing my divs would probably help, huh? Everything's terrible, but it can't hurt us. Cool. We're going to go ahead and style those arms really fast. We're going to give them a width of 30%, and that's 30% of the parent element. That's going to be okay. Background. Oh, I'm going to get rid of the HTML so we're able to see it. And the background is going to be a linear gradient And that's going to be set to, I tend to like to put these on different lines. Oh, we need a comma, don't we? 90 degrees, starting at gray. And ending at RGB 209, 210, 199. Let's see. Oh, did I make, I gave it the width and did not give it any height. So that is not especially helpful, is it? There we go. I bet we've got a couple more steps to make this look a little penguin-y. Amazing. We're going to do another custom variable. And here it's penguin skin. We're going to set it to gray. And now we need to go through and find all of these that are gray, which is not thrilling. I'm going to search for, why is it not searching in here? That's frustrating, but it's not the most frustrating thing in the world. Here we've got gray, and what was it? It was var, and then the smooth braces, penguin skin. So we saw that disappear and come back. And I'm going to copy this because we're going to go through and change every time I see gray. And the reason we're doing this is it does feel a little repetitive. See, I've already written this code. We're making our code a lot more robust. I say, okay, maybe I want to do penguins in the future where they're pink or purple or something else happens. I want to be able to change all of these at the same time. So we could change that, we can use that variable within the linear gradient as well. I think that might be all the instances of gray. It absolutely is. So here we're using the arm that also has the class of left. We're just going to real quickly position it 35% from the top of its parent element and left 5%. Okay, still not amazing, but I'm going to cheat and copy this one. I know. Because what we're going to change is, we're going to change this to arm.right, not a problem. We're going to change it, move it to, to the right. Okay, so those arms are kind of in, 0% from the top end. They're kind of in the right position, but these are not very army arms yet. So here, in the arm left, we're going to transform. What do you think? Do you think it's transform origin? I'm just going to grab this one. Transform origin is a little tiny bit different. We use transform origin, and that's how I spell that. To be the top left of its parent. Okay, well, I've got the syntax right here. And with some kinds of transforms, you're like, oh, do I have to like calculate or set a point? Really excitingly, MDN is going to help us out. Hey, transform origin, I could just say top and left here. Do you know what? The world is difficult, but let's come back here. This is not as bad as it could be. Okay, that's all it wanted. To keep the linear. Oh, we're gonna first rotate. Ooh, so I like these. These start getting a little bit weird. Yeah, so some folks are saying they were trying to, remember when we did the merry-go-round, we set a point in which to an origin to transform around. That's really tempting to say, oh, we could do that again. But luckily, we looked up transform origin and top and left. There's often multiple ways to do something, and I love doing it the easy way. Or that's not true. I often love to do it the hard way. So here, we're going to, is it transform, rotate? And we're going to invert the x-axis. Heck, 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 heck. Is that transform skew? I'm going to look up transform skew because that feels like it might be that. I want to flip this. Oh, how about I've just grabbed this from MDN. What if we see if the rotate on the x-axis, maybe? So here it's telling me the rotate on the x-axis function. Gosh. Hmm. Do you know what? Let's go ahead and try. First, rotate it by 130 degrees and then invert the x-axis. Oh, I can do both of these together. It's scale x -1. Okay, so I only need to do the transform once. That's very relaxing. And I can put these together and say, hey, rotate this 180 degrees to give me the positioning I want. And then let's flip this. Let's invert along the x-axis. Let's go ahead and do the rotate the right arm, transform, rotate 45 degrees. Is it by default clockwise? Oh, by default. So up, it is clockwise by default, which felt right because we remember the top right, bottom left when we set things like padding and margin all together with the shorthand. But here, it is a simple matter of not reading the instructions. We want it counterclockwise. We'll add the minus and flip it around. Okay, we're going to give the top left, top right, and bottom corners. Oh, so this is exciting. The arm element, got the border radius. And I think what I've just mentioned is that clockwise shorthand for assigning things. I think we might be able to do that for border radius. Let's check. So 30% on the top. So right now that's going to do 30% all over the place, which might not be what we want. How about 30% on the right? Because we're going clockwise. Top, right, bottom, left. The top left, top right. Hang on. I'm going to set these to different things so I can visualize what's going on here. Ooh. So 30%, so we're starting at the top right and bottom right. Yeah, I think we should say 30, 30, 30, 120. But if that doesn't feel like it's, there we go. Okay. So the language top right, bottom part felt a little bit weird to me, but this feels pretty penguiny. Everything continues to be fine. Oof, oof. We've got to move this back. And we saw that last time when we wanted to move the feet back, we used a z index of -1. We could say -2. Oh gosh, that's quite cute. I think -1 would do the same thing. Yeah, but it feels a little weird to have two of them on the same rhyme. So okay, you did want it to be on the, so these are going to be on the same conceptual level as the feet. So it is one behind the body. It's time. It's time, my lovelies. Thank you so much. You see me just like leaning forward. You know I'm going to be absolutely unreasonable. I'm so sorry that I know folks have different things they get excited about. I absolutely love this little penguin, and I love to see her waves. We're going to set a keyframes rule, and every time we set a keyframes rule, we need to set a name for that. Yeah. So here it's being named wave. And we're not going to do it yet, but somebody who's not me, remind me what we do in the keyframes. We're going to give it 4 waypoints. So we're going to start. Ooh, I really like this because this isn't telling us what specifically to do, but it's saying, hey, say 10%, 20%. So we want 4 different waypoints, 4 different points of animation. And we're going to start at 10% and increment by 10% each time. So I think, I'm going to get you all to count with me, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. Everything's fine. So the first waypoint, that's this 10%, we're going to rotate 110 degrees and retain the scaling of the left arm. Okay. So here, say transform. Is this going to be the same syntax we've seen before? Or do we not need to say transform? You know what? Let's try it and see what happens. Yeah, this will give us a little error if something's gone a little bit wrong. And I love a little error. I'm going to say, And then we want to retain the scaling of the left arm. I think that's going to be scale X again, doesn't it? Is that going to be scale X1? I'm not feeling super duper. Oh, heck. Ha 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 ha. Edda is helping me out to be like, Jess, it's -1. Oh, and we've got somebody in the chat doing the exact same thing to say, oh, hey, wouldn't it be 1? And the reasons it's -1 instead of 1, Edda is helpfully helping me out, is saying It's based on transform origin, but the negative values are going to flip it, keep it from changing the scaling on us. Okay, so on the second waypoint, we're going to do something really similar, huh? So here, we're going to rotate to 130 degrees and retain the scale. Is the scaling still -1? Okay, nice. I'm going to bet an actual, okay, for the third and fourth waypoints, I really like this because this is saying repeat the pattern. So this is asking us to do a little bit of problem solving, but we've got this. Here at 10% of our way through the animation, we're rotating 110 degrees. At 20%, we're rotating 130 degrees. I think I'm going to copy and paste this in. So it looks like we're incrementing, we're adding 20 here. So like maybe 150. And here, I think maybe 170. That might not be the pattern, but that feels like that might be the pattern it's leading us to. Gosh. Oh, the pattern it wants us to do is just a little back and forth. So instead of coming all the way down, we're going back to 110 and back to 130. So just a little tiny baby wave. Oh, the big question, why isn't she waving yet? So we've defined all of our keyframes rules. Ha ha ha. We haven't connected the left arm, which is where we're going to put this animation. We haven't said where this defined keyframes rule is going to go. So we're going to say animation. And here we're going to say it's the wave animation. We want it to last 3 seconds. And already, so we've given it 2 different things and said, I'm going to connect the name of the keyframes rule I've defined, and I'm going to tell you how many times I want you to do it. And have it be linear. So just be like sort of an equalized way it's rolled out. Yeah, we're going to check our code. It's good. It's good, but just 2 little waves isn't as satisfying as it could be, is it? Oh, heck. I was saying, I bet the next thing we're going to do is add infinite, but by default, it's 1. And that was just in the instructions, and I hadn't quite gotten there yet. Yeah. So target the penguin element when it's active. Okay. It's active. I think we can use maybe the target pseudo class. Nope. Maybe just penguin active, huh? Oh, and we only need 1 of these. So when that penguin's active, increase the size by 50% in both dimensions. The width and the height. 300, half of 300 is 150. So this is going to be 450. And that's 450 pixels. Oh, heck. Ed is yelling in the background that I'm doing this in a silly way. That we've got transform scale. Of course, we've been focusing on transforms a lot. And this means that this will still work even if we wanted to change. So here we've got 1.5. So if I had gone through and said, hey, when the penguin's active, I want to change the width and the height to a fixed or an absolute unit of measurement, that means if I'd gone back at any point and changed the width and height of the penguin class, that it no longer would be connected and it would no longer work. Ooh, so it kind of look, so already we're saying when we click on that, when it's active, when it's being focused on by the user, we go ahead and see it increase in size because it's scaled to 1.5. It kind of looks, and this is a really, really good point. To me, it looks like I should now be able to do fun things with this penguin, and I can't. So we're going to set the cursor property to not allowed. I was going to say, hey, I get this little no symbol. I'm not quite sure if y'all can see this, which just sort of discourages hope. Another teeny tiny outbreak. Free Code Camp's free, the bootcamp is free, but this is just a little reminder that Free Code Camp is a registered nonprofit, and if you've got the cash, and if you found this really valuable, donating to Free Code Camp monthly is a really nice thing to do. Yeah. I make a rule to never tell adults what to do, but don't go spending money you don't have, please. So within the penguin, set the transition behavior of the transformation to have a duration. To have a duration of 1 second. The timing should say ease in and out. And we should have a delay of 0 milliseconds. And have I spelled transition incorrect? I bet you $1 I have. Let's go ahead and copy and paste that over to see if that feels a bit better. So now, when I click on that, it takes an extra second to sort of slowly ease in. And when I let it go, it seems to ease out a little bit better. Oh, you guys imagining that working? There we go. Get the slowly picking that penguin up to say hi to us, slowly letting it go. I thought it was very subtle. Give the dot penguin a transition property of transform. So transition property instead of transition? Oh, okay. It wants me to define all of these individually instead of using the shorthand. Which I don't love as a lightly lazy person, but I respect it. It says, do you know what? We want this really clearly defined. Another reason I use the shorthand is I cannot, for love or money, spell transition today, apparently. Transition delay. Gonna be happy with that? Oh gosh, yes, sorry. Duration, timing. Transition timing function. Okay. Transition duration, 1 second. Transition timing function, ease in and out. Transition delay. And also a transition property of transform. Y'all are very, very patient while I am very, very goofy. I am absolutely going to lose my mind if it's then like, go ahead and collapse all of these. Finally, let's take the ground, the The height of the element should be, ooh. So the height of the ground element should be, I'm going to calculate the viewport height minus hmm, what's the syntax for specifying the height of the penguin element? Oh, I don't think there's a shorthand for that, or not one that I can easily find. I'm going to go ahead and try to lazily just look at the height of the penguin and see if hard coding that as a calculation works. Where are you? The height of this penguin. What a specific thing to be hunting for. Oh, and Ed is lovingly backstage be like, yeah. It's going to be 300 pixels. So that should go ahead and, if that's worked okay, that should set the height of our ground to 100% of the viewport height minus 300 pixels. Oh, you need a space here? Yes, you need a space there. Okay, I'm just being silly about the syntax. So, gloriously, I am so excited that this is all of our penguin. You see that as we change the viewport height, we're seeing the ground scale really well. We're actually seeing this animation is really responsive. Ed is like, hey, you know what we could do if we didn't want to hard code this to look at the 300 pixels and write it? We also could have set that as a variable. Love it. Thank you very much. And Mel's like, look, I tend to use dev tools when I want to find a value in my code or prep for it. Both of these are much more reasonable than me going, oh gosh, where is this? So this is stunning. I just wanted to thank you all very much for joining me for my absolutely favorite session. We're going to take just a minute to look at this personal portfolio project, which we're going to ask you to do independently because it's a very personal project. Here we've got an example project. We've got sort of a portfolio project for a web developer. And one thing I really like is this person's gone ahead and used all of their labs and included them as projects. Really, I might suggest that if you're going to use your labs that you've worked on during this project, especially for the earlier labs, I'd really recommend going through and adding some extra features. So this is if you go ahead and take them to GitHub Pages, if you take them to your own hosting and put this live, you're going to want to go ahead and continue to take what you've known and add more and more. So this person's done some of the JavaScript projects as well, which is quite exciting. Oh yeah, do you know what? Mel, if it's okay, I'm going to put your point up on the screen because not to pick on you, but this is something I hear all the time. So here's a fake portfolio just to get you started. The big thing I would say for this one is I've said again and again, where you can in these projects to be as creative as possible. Y'all absolutely need to not just copy this example project because in a perfect world, this is something you can take and use for your very own portfolio project, which I'm really excited about. We've got somebody saying, hey, do you know what? Portfolios feel weird because it doesn't feel like anything's good enough, or it doesn't feel like there's anything ready, or there's not stuff that feels like you can publish it now. If it's not too unkind for me to be a bit pushy, I promise you that things never feel ready. A big part of why I haven't pushed my own new website out is, oh, I just need to fix this. Oh, that's not done. Do as I say and not as I do, please, if you can. Publish your projects when they're messy. Publish them as you go. Publish your website before it feels polished, both because something people can see that's live, that's not amazing, is still better than something that's not published at all. But also, oh gosh, if you've got a portfolio page or if you've got a project that you've published and you've got a couple things that are like, oh, I want to go back and fix that, I promise nothing is as motivating as, oh, heck, I meant to go fix those to-dos in that project, and it's live and everybody's going to be able to see it until I fix that. Yeah, it's a really, really good practice to just get that stuff out there, and you can refine it as you go. So you do have some user stories. You should have a welcome section, project section. You should have at least one thing with a project title. So you should have at least one project out there. Yeah, and I really like this. Baking's just like, oh yeah, you can get something out there and then prettify it, like clean it up later. Yeah, showing the other thing, and y'all are grown and don't need me to tell you how to do personal development, but it's really, really nice to say, hey, I'm gonna get my rough stuff out there and get feedback if there is any. It's really, really nice for getting used to that scrappy, like, let's just get this out, let's just get this shipped. So this is giving us some guidelines for things our portfolios should have, but it's giving a lot of flexibility. So, hey, this should be responsive. It should have at least one media query. But I'm not seeing anything about the requirements for images or not having images, video or not having video. It doesn't say anything about whether or not you want to have animations. It doesn't say anything about the colors or the styling. So this is a lab, but this feels like a really, really flexible lab. This is sort of the lab I think is the most important to look at. Yeah. I'm going to encourage y'all to get started on this on your own. And I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Next week, we've got a weird one next week. On Monday, we're going to go back and do a great big review session. So we're going to go through and review topics from HTML. We're going to review topics from CSS. But the big thing for next week is that we've got mixed topics booked Tuesday through Friday. What we're really looking to do is make sure that you all get a chance to answer any questions or go back and look at anything that you'd like to see in more detail. Yeah, I'll go ahead and leave you for now. I've had the nicest time working on my favorite session with you all. And next week, the big things we're going to do are we'll go through on Monday and do that big block of review, but everybody's working through this on at different paces. We're so happy to go back to past lessons. We're so happy to go back and look at your questions. And we're so happy to just chill out and work on stuff together. All right, I'll see you next week. And for those of you in warm places, please stay cool. Bye, team.